So, you've decided that this whole W-2 lifestyle just isn't for you. And you're thinking, there must be another way to live. Trust me, I've been there. I didn't want to slave away at my corporate job either. Commuting 2 hours a day and feeling absolutely exhausted by the end of the day, and really only living for the weekends. Now here's the thing, what people don't realize is that the lifestyle that they've chosen for themselves is exactly what's keeping them stuck where they are right now. Conventional society and the American dream tells you to go to school, get good grades, get a job, buy the house, buy the nice car, level up, climb the corporate ladder, get the house, the white picket fence, yada, 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 yada. And I get it. For the longest time, I was also on that path. Because I mean, what else are you supposed to do, right? Is there even another way? The answer to that is yes. And it's that current conventional way that society has told us for years and years and years that's keeping you broke, which is also inherently keeping you stuck in your job, in your house, and exactly where you are. So I'm here to tell you what those 3 things are that are probably what's keeping you broke and what's keeping you stuck in your current position. Make sure to stay till the end because the last one is definitely the most controversial, but trust me, you're gonna wanna hear me out. Number 1 is your car payment. Cars literally depreciate the second you take it out of the parking lot from the dealer. Cars are definitely liabilities and not assets. Now you can make it an asset if you do something like Turo, where you rent out your car so that it pays for itself. And cash flows on top of that. Unless you're a big car aficionado, ask yourself, do you really need that more expensive car? And especially, do you need it so that you have an extra car payment? Even if your car payment is $200, $300, $400, $500 a month, that's another expense that you have that's anchoring yourself down from being flexible and able to, let's say, leave the country for a few months or move. So I drive a really beat up Nissan Sentra. I've had it ever since I was in college. I have no desire to get a new car. I am literally squeezing everything I possibly can out of my car right now because I don't want to have to go spend $10, $15, $20, $30,000 on a new car or put less down and then have a large car payment that's preventing me from being able to leave the country and travel for 4 months or 5 months at a time. And guess what? No one cares that I drive a beat up car. Literally no one. And I don't even like cars. If it were up to me, I would just fully sell my car and move to Europe, which I do still plan on doing. But having a new car doesn't really bring me joy or excitement, and it's more just something that's gonna anchor me down to one place. So ask yourself, do you really need that new car? Maybe it makes sense for you to sell that car and then go buy a much cheaper car where you don't have a car payment on it. So that's number 1 in terms of things that are keeping you broke. The second thing that is keeping you broke is your student loans. The fact that colleges and parents bamboozle 17 and 18-year-olds into taking out hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of student loans honestly is mind-boggling to me. Like, in what world does a 17 or 18-year-old know the impacts of having that much in student loans? Like, they don't even understand what that money even means, and knowing that they now have to pay it back for the rest of their lives is crazy to me. And that's why, for me personally, I generally don't think going to college is necessary. I think that there are so many other ways that people can learn, can gain new skills, can find jobs and careers and be entrepreneurs, just so many different realms of possibilities that honestly tend to be more lucrative than going to college. I know that's not the popular opinion, but just from what I've seen, student loans generally do way more harm than they do good. Especially nowadays, getting a job right after college is not guaranteed, even if you're an engineer or a doctor. So many years dedicating towards getting this prestigious degree just to come out with no job prospects. So now you have people that literally have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt and then still don't have a job to even be able to pay it off. And then the other thing is that even though the pricing of schooling is continuously going up and up and up, like when I went to university, it was about $50,000 a year to go to my school. Thankfully, I had multiple scholarships and those were able to cover all of my costs. But nowadays, that same school is over $60,000, $70,000 a year. And wages are definitely not keeping up with that. So if you're graduating and want to go to school or university just because your parents told you have to, that might not be the best decision anymore and may not be the right advice that you need. Because student loans, it's what's keeping so many people back from doing what they actually want to do. I know so many lawyers and doctors who are like, well, I gotta pay my student loans off first before I can do anything else that they actually want to do in life. So student loans are keeping you broke. Also, if you're finding this video to be useful, make sure to actually hit that like and subscribe button. It's literally the only way that I know that these are the kind of videos that you want to see. And so if you want me to make more of these videos, you just gotta hit that like and subscribe and the bell notification button. That way you know whenever I have a new video come out. Thanks. Now, the third and final thing that is keeping you broke AF is your primary residence. So people buy houses because that's what they're supposed to do, right? That means you've made it in society. You know, you buy your house. It's the best financial investment that you can possibly ever have. But have you actually run the numbers on that? Is it actually the best financial investment you could possibly ever do? So many people just buy houses without running any of the numbers and they're like, oh, this is what you're supposed to do, right? Even though it's probably way more expensive than renting. Now, you're probably confused because I'm the real estate person, right? And I own a few houses, and Olivia, what? That doesn't make any sense. But listen to what I said. What's keeping you broke is your primary residence. That is the house that you live in, not your investment properties. The house that you live in that you're making $0 off of, and you're pouring your money into, hoping that later on in life, at some point, it will have appreciated enough and made you a bunch of money, right? Now, unless you actually bought your house with the intention to rent it out as an investment property and you ran the numbers accordingly, then it's probably not actually an investment. Now, you can argue that if you're adding value and the plan is to do a cash out refi later or sell it for profit because it was a flip, then yes, in that type of situation, you're adding value to it and you can pull that money back out. But most people don't buy houses like that. Most people are just buying a regular house. They're paying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month sometimes towards their mortgage payment, and that is keeping them stuck and incapable of leaving their situation. That's one of the things that makes like people like me, digital nomads, super anxious, because who wants to be stuck with a giant mortgage payment that's not allowing them to be free? Now, if you house hack, and if you want to go watch my house hack video, you can go do that, then yes, that's a fantastic investment. It pays for itself and you also have a place to live in, but that is an investment. But if you're planning on buying, you know, a starter home, living in it for a year or two, then selling it and then upgrading to another house, that doesn't make it a good investment, especially over a 2-year period or a 3-year period. You really can't guarantee the appreciation. Now, if you know you're gonna hold it for 20, 30 years, yes, history has shown that over a 20 to 30 year period, you can generally expect a good amount of appreciation. But if you're holding it for 2 or 3 years, anything can happen within that time period. And that's why if you don't want to feel stuck and if you don't want to feel broke paying a giant mortgage payment that's keeping you where you are, do a house hack. Buy a duplex, a triplex, a fourplex, or buy a house and rent out the rooms so that it pays for itself. But let me tell you, your mortgage payment is keeping you broke. Basically, what all of these things do is they minimize your expenses so that you have less tying you down. Part of the reason as to how I was able to pay off all of my credit card debt so quickly was that I didn't have a car payment, I didn't have a ginormous mortgage payment, and I didn't have any student loans. So I could put all of my extra money into paying off all of my credit card debt and then also getting a duplex. And yes, I did purchase a primary residence, but that primary residence from the beginning was gonna be a rental property. So I made sure to run the numbers so that it would work whenever I lived there as well as whenever I left. And then I had no car payment because I purchased my car outright. I also had no student debt because I made sure to get a bunch of scholarships and work all throughout college during the year and during the summer and internships to make sure I had enough extra money. Now, to be fair, I was young and wasn't always the most responsible with my money, but it helped. And now let's say you did all of those 3 things and you got rid of that car payment, you didn't have any student loans, you don't have a large mortgage payment, but you are drowning in credit card debt. You should really take a look at this video because I go over the methods that I use to pay off $25,000 worth of credit card debt in only 8 months.